Willpower is not to push yourself to do something. You only need to use willpower in one way, and that is to strengthen your willpower so much that all day long you keep that image of your goal live on the screen of your mind, no matter what happens around you. That's it. That's the willpower. You literally can change your present when you change your past. It was so powerful, so powerful. Some of the I've done it many, many times, and sometimes it just brought tears in my eyes because I really felt it, like I was there. And I felt the shift. I live in Toronto, Canada. Winters are brutal here. I used to door knock, minus 20 degrees wind, snow up to my knees. I was working hard and I was not seeing the result. And you know what people do? When they work hard and they don't see the result month after month and maybe a year and two, and they use up all their savings and they work so hard and they hustle and grind and they don't see the result, you know what happens? It's probably not for me. Be careful what you wish for, because if you wish for a bigger, fuller, more juicier life, universe always says yes. We live in a yes universe. Again, universe, God, your higher self, whatever you believe in, wants to experience the most through you in this physical world.
Did you know there's a technology that's actually an app on your phone that uses sound waves to tell your brain what you want your brain to do? We had a young man that was on a guest on our podcast, the Mike Litton Experience, who had a traumatic brain injury. He was sleeping 3 hours a night. He's using NewCalm now and he's sleeping more. Go to newcalm.com, Mike15 promo code. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. Mike is passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
Helia Oghani, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I'm super excited for our time together. And like we talked about before we hit record, everybody has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. So with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born, go all the way up to today, and then we want to talk about this amazing life coach practice that you have. You're certified by Bob Proctor. I'm super excited to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike. I'm excited for this conversation, and yeah, I'm excited to share my story, but if I want to share everything, we have to go hours and hours. So let's see where I was born. I'm born in Tehran, Iran, Middle East, and I left Iran when I was 22, and I lived in Portugal for a few years, and then I moved from Portugal to Canada, and I've been living in Canada since 2012. So I have lived in 3 different continents so far, and I can't wait to move again. I love to move and experience different places, and I love traveling, and I have changed my career a few times. I have changed my partners a few times. And you know what? At some point, you get to the age that you want some certainty and you want to settle down, but it seems like it's not in my destiny. Even the other day, I checked my astrology and it was saying, you better get used to change because that's the dominant theme of your life. And I'm like, yep, I realized that. Yeah, I was like you actually in real estate a few years ago. I left my corporate job after only 2 years of being an employee. I decided I cannot be an employee. Nothing wrong with being an employee. It was just not for me. I wanted to have my freedom of time and location and being my own boss and making as much money as I want. I've always been very ambitious. So then I thought what to do, and real estate came to mind. I started my real estate business, and I had a really hard time. I didn't know real estate. is all about sales. I
Mhm.
thought you just need to get a nice Mercedes and drive around and money just gonna pour in somehow.
It just
I got
flows.
a Mercedes. Yeah, I got a beautiful red Mercedes, but there was no money and there was no clients and my phone was not ringing.
Mhm.
So I had a really hard time in real estate. And then I got different real estate coaches, helped my business a little bit. But what really helped was Bob Proctor teachings, which kind of like accidentally one day on YouTube, they were offering this free event, Paradigm Shift. And I joined. And I watched the movie The Secret, which Bob was one of the teachers, but I never watched his programs and the way that he really teaches the mind. So I got on that free masterclass, whatever, Paradigm Shift, and I'm like, oh my God, why does nobody in real estate industry talks about this? The mindset, the subconscious programming, your limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
So that was the beginning of, like, I was hooked. And fast forward less than a year, that year that I took his program, I took his 6 months program. I became an award-winning agent in my office, Royal LePage Signature here in Toronto. And I just became really passionate about Bob's teachings. I've always been passionate about the mind and how the mind functions, subconscious programming, and a little bit of spirituality here and there. But that program was like, okay, if it can change my real estate business this much, I just need to, I just found myself talking more about Bob program than real estate. And then I realized, okay, it's time for me to move. So I left real estate and started coaching as of 4 or 5 years ago now.
So you take Bob Proctor's course, you get certified. What's the single most important thing you learned?
That you can really literally change your life no matter what you're going through, no matter your circumstance, no matter your environment, no matter where you were born, no matter what experiences you've had, how many years you've lived in a certain way, you have the power, your mind, your brilliant mind, as Bob says, has the power to change your results. It doesn't matter the economy, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter the industry. Because if you look at it, in every industry, in every economy, there are people who are making millions of dollars and there are people who are always struggling. I know people who move from a third world country to Canada and they get into one of the best industries. They have the potential to make millions of dollars and they are still struggling. It's not about the outside. It is all about the inside.
Mhm.
And we all have this power. We just don't know how to use the mind. We just don't know the tools that we have in our mind. Why? Because nobody has taught us. And that's what Bob teaches.
So what are those tools?
You want to get to the point. What are those tools? Where do I start? So all of us, every human being,
Mhm.
we have subconscious limiting beliefs. And that's what Bob calls paradigm.
Mhm.
The paradigm comes from two ways. One is from our DNA, literally our genes. That's why we think a lot like our parents, as much as we don't want to. We look the same. We have the same genes, the same way that in our physical body we have the same genes. In our thought pattern, we have the same genes. So that's one way. The second way is through our upbringing and the environment that we grew up in. So if we grew up in an environment that there was a lot of lack, limitation, not having enough money, money doesn't grow on trees, or if we heard any of these things, even if we don't remember now, sometimes we don't remember what we heard when we were a little kid. And these all, like, this is science from the time you are born. Actually, they say even before you're born, from the time that you're in the womb till the age of 6, 7, or 8, that's how your subconscious program is developed and is built. by everything that went around you, all limiting beliefs, all the conversations your parents or your caregivers they had. Because at that age, the subconscious mind is wide open. We don't have the conscious mind developed yet to reject any idea. So all the ideas went deep into our subconscious and created this programming that is still in our 40s and 60s and 70s running the show if we don't change it. So that's the first thing we need to understand. And we all have those because none of our parents were perfect. There are very few, maybe really handful of people who really understand how the mind works, and they're really careful about the language they use when they are raising their kids or what they expose their kids to. Very, very few people in the whole world. A lot of parents don't know this stuff. So they just transfer their own belief system to us. Belief system about money, belief system about success, belief system about hard work, belief system about relationships. So, but what are the tools? So in our mind, we have our five senses, right? Hear, smell, see, taste, touch. And that is what the majority of people, 99.9% of people, run their life based on what they hear, what they see, what they smell, taste, and touch. So, for example, we look at our bank account and it's not what we want it to be. We let it affect us. We keep being consumed. Our thoughts get consumed. Our feeling, our vibration is going to go down. We get stressed out. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my rent, my mortgage? So this is being, as Bob says, a plaything of the environment. We hear the news, economy is bad, no one has money, interest rates are going up, and we get affected by it. We start thinking about it. We start having more thoughts day and night. Some people, they can't sleep at night because of these things. They are exposed to the environment. They let the environment affect them, their thoughts, their feelings, and therefore their actions. So imagine if you watch the news every day, which is something that a lot of people do. I hope they stop doing that. If you're watching this, listening to this, please stop doing that. No, you don't need to know what's going on in the world every minute of every day. Even if you're in, some people say, well, I'm in stuck, I need to know. Okay, sure, know a little bit about what you are doing specifically, but don't be consumed about every detail of everything that is going on in the world or in your country. Because what happens is that people watch the news, it affects you. Even for me, like after 5 years being in this environment, studying and teaching basically every single day, I'm learning, I'm studying, I'm teaching, I'm learning, teaching. If I stop that for 1 week and I watch the news, I'm going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm going to feel like stressed out. I'm going to start thinking about I'm just going to see lack. My mind is not going to tap into the potential of how to create more money. I'm going to be like, how can I save more? How can I hold on to that little bit that I have? The more you hold on to the money, the more money want to just escape and go away. Money is energy. You have to circulate it. That's another conversation for another day. So let's get back to the mind. So that's what people do. People get, yeah, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Go ahead, finish. I just wanted to ask you a question.
Sure. So that's how people function. And this is not the way we are supposed to function. We are creative beings. We are the highest form of intelligence, at least on this planet Earth. We were made in a way to use our mind, our God-given tool. You want to say it, God, universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you believe in, the force that has created this whole universe with so much perfection and order. The way that the creator designed us is to be a creator of our own life using our higher mental faculties instead of our five senses. So we talked about 5 senses: hear, smell, see, taste, touch, and how people just use that and just get to the negative thoughts, negative feelings, and negative actions, we want to use our higher mental faculties, which are 6 higher mental faculties that I'm going to share in a bit. But I just wanted to finish one thing that I started, which was people get consumed with negative information, like news, like media, like the economy is not doing good. And then if I think about that all day long, how am I going to feel? I'm going to feel lack. I'm going to feel scarcity. I'm going to feel like the world is coming to an end. I have to save myself. I have to save money. And then how am I going to act? Am I going to go out, think about a new business opportunity? Probably not. Probably I'm just going to double down on what I have and just, make sure that I am safe and and keep safe. So your actions are being determined by your thoughts and your feelings, and your actions are what create your results, the reaction from the universe. I want to hear your question before I get into the 6 higher mental faculties.
So the 5 senses are really reactive, right? So you're reacting to that input that comes from those 5 senses. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Versus
This is 5 senses
being proactive, right?
Yes. Yes.
So the next question that I have is it true that what you let in, you're to blame for?
Yeah. Because you have the power to reject or accept any idea that is out there. No one has control over your thoughts. You are the only person who has control over your thoughts. There is a beautiful book called Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was in prison in a Nazi concentration camp for many, many years. The worst human condition that anyone can be, facing life or death every single day, from mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. He wrote this amazing book that there is a meaning in life in that condition. Imagine. And in that book, he says, even in the worst condition ever, you have the ability to choose your thoughts. You can think about whatever you want. Yes, and you put it very beautifully said. It is, so living by our 5 senses is living reactively, versus the 6 higher mental faculties that we're going to talk about is proactive.
So the 6 higher mental faculties we're going to cover in just a second. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about those 6 higher mental faculties that can help supercharge your ability to succeed. We'll be right back. Did you know there's an app that has no side effects that allows you to use sound waves to tell your brain what you want it to do? It's called newcalm.com, and it's amazing. It literally uses sound waves. If you want to tell your brain to go to sleep, if you want to tell your brain to recover, if you want to tell your brain to put you in peak physical state, if you want to tell your brain to focus, if you want to tell your brain to take a power nap, you can do all of these things and more with newcalm.com. Go to newcalm.com today, promo code Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go there today. And we're back with Helia Oghani, and we're talking about, and literally you're certified by Bob Proctor as a life coach, and we're talking about the 6 higher mental faculties. Tell us about those.
Yes. So it is literally like, imagine you have a gift and no one has told you you have a gift and it is hidden somewhere. That's how I felt when Bob taught me and the other coaches about these 6 higher mental faculties. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm sure at some point, hopefully not too far from now, the whole education system, school, everything is going to change. And they start teaching these to kids. They have to. Like, this is how we are supposed to live. Proactively designing our life. So there's 6 higher mental faculties that every human being has, but we haven't developed those. So those are like mental muscles. We all have muscles, but unless you go to the gym, you're not going to develop your muscles. Same way for your mental muscles. Unless you work on them every single day, you're not gonna develop them, and you can never use them. But we all have them. So the very first mental faculty, imagination. So when I tell you, like right now, I'm gonna throw some words at you. Rainbow, a feather, your refrigerator, your car. The second I say any of these words, an image comes to your mind right away, because that's how our mind functions. Our mind, we see picture. That's how our mind thinks. When I say car, you don't see CAR. You see an image of your car. So our imagination is really powerful, and we do have it for a reason. Like I always tell my clients, close your eyes. This is one of the visualization practices we do daily. First off, you create a beautiful goal, something that you want to achieve. And then you close your eyes and you see your goal in your eyes. You see you're living your goal. Why do we have, I just want your audience to ask yourself, why do you have this ability to close your eyes and see something in the future that hasn't happened yet? There is a reason you have this. It's for you to use it. But what people do, we always use our imagination. It is a weak muscle, but we use it, and most people use it in a wrong way. So they use it in, what is worry? When, like, if you have a kid, you have a child, and they call you, they say they're going to be late. They're out with their friends, and then you don't hear back from them for hours. Where is your mind going to go? What kind of pictures are going to come to the screen of your mind? Not positive pictures, like pictures of, God forbid, like accident and hospital and drugs, or that's using your imagination in a negative way.
Yeah.
You can use it in a positive way. So imagination is, and I don't want to go deep into all these higher mental faculties, because these are all, like, they take days and weeks to understand each one of these. But so the first one is imagination. The second one is your willpower. People think willpower, the way Bob explains will is completely different from what we have learned from our parents or school. Willpower is not to push yourself to do something. You only need to use willpower in one way, and that is to strengthen your willpower so much that all day long you keep that image of your goal live on the screen of your mind, no matter what happens around you. That's it. That's the willpower. So you become really faithful to your goal. So your goal becomes much more important to you than any other limiting situation and circumstance that is going around you.
That could knock you off course.
Right. Yes. And it's willpower. You can call it focus. You have to be focused on your goal, because things happen, challenges happen, setbacks happen for everyone. The most successful people are the ones who are so committed to their goal, to this image, that they don't let the setback makes them quit. They don't quit.
Right.
They keep going. They keep going. So that's the second one. The third one is your intuition. We all have the intuition, but again, not many people know how to use their intuition. We are so disconnected from our intuition. We're so disconnected from our heart, from our higher self. We are so much in our head. It's good to think, but the head is, if your decisions are based on logic and your head and your past experiences only, it's very limited. We have to learn how to use our intuition, and because intuition is connected to your higher self. The higher self knows past, present, and future. Your mind only knows what you have experienced so far.
Yeah.
And the other one is perception. So in any given moment, I was having a coaching call with my client today, She's actually a real estate agent, and she's having a hard time with this buyer. The buyer is like thinking a lot of lack and limitation about money, just being on a negative thinking. And I asked her, so perception is one of the things Bob teaches. You can, at any given moment, you can have a different perception about what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
There is always good and bad in everything, even if we don't see it. Even if we think it's only bad, I want to challenge you to think about what is good in it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? One question that I love to ask myself is, why is this in my movie? Why is this happening for me? What am I supposed to learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
How am I supposed to grow? And the next one is your memory. You can use
Mm-hmm.
your memory to change your past. You can go in the past and change the memories. And this is science again. This is neuroscience. Whatever memories you had, traumas even, you can go to the past, change your memory from negative to positive. That's going to affect your present moment and your vibration. Therefore, it's going to change your future.
So are you changing the memory, or are you changing your perception of the memory?
So perception was one higher mental faculty.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it for anything. But memory is another higher mental faculty. It is a tool. You can go to past memories or you can go to future memories.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was explaining is you can go to your past memories and really in your imagination. So these are all connected: imagination, perception, memory. So you go back in your memory, use your imagination, and you create another memory that you want.
Mm-hmm.
That affects your mood, because time doesn't exist. Time is an illusion. Past, present, future, they're all intertwined. Everything is connected. This whole world is not what we see with our five senses. It is much more than that. So you can literally affect your past by changing the memory of your past, and that's going to change your present and your future. And the last, not least, of 6 higher mental faculties is your reasoning. And I love this because so many times we have so many beliefs that we think it is true, but I want to challenge you to question your beliefs. We were just talking about the power of question before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Questions are very powerful. Anytime you come up with a statement
Mm-hmm.
that is not really powerful for you and the results that you want, use your reasoning, use your logic, say, where does this come from?
Mm-hmm.
When did I inherit this belief? Is that the truth? Is that how everybody thinks? Is that what successful people think? Can I change that? What would be the opposite of that belief? Really using our mind. Bob says no, but the majority of people, they don't think. Mental activity is not thinking. And one of the phrases he used so many times in his seminars was, now think. Really think. We say so many things, we believe in so many things that we are just repeating what we heard before, and it's not the truth. It's not the reality of life.
So the being the robot thing is really laziness. You're just regurgitating
Not
what you've heard.
regurgitating what you heard. It is being lazy, and this is the worst way of laziness, because that affects your whole life. The way you think affects your career, your relationships, your finances. Yeah, thinking takes a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Questioning your beliefs, it's a lot of work. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be successful.
Can you give us an example of going back? And it could be your personal example. It could be an example of a client, whatever. But could you give us an example of going back and changing a memory?
I'm thinking, I'm smiling because this is something that I have been doing recently, but I'm thinking, should I share? It's very personal. I
You don't
think
have
I'm
to.
going to share.
You could share somebody else's.
No, I think I want to share because, I have been thinking recently to be more authentic And I feel like our experiences are very valuable.
Yeah.
And we have to share it with others, because there is a reason we went through what we went through. Maybe there's someone else out there who's about to go through our experience, and maybe they would benefit from this. So I'm going to share it. So one of the things that many years ago, I was in a relationship and I had a stepson. I loved him. He loved me. We had a beautiful relationship when it was me and him, but not so great when it was three of us. So the dynamic, somehow, it was my inner child. It was whatever it was that I worked on later on. I realized I could have spent better time when it was three of us. I could have made it more fun. I could have worked on my insecurities a little bit more. And really, I could have created better memories for all of us. So what can I do now? I cannot sit here and regret. I cannot sit here and blame myself. That's not going to help anybody. That's not going to change anyone. And please do not blame yourself. Blame and regret is one of the most negative, heaviest feeling that you can have. It's even worse than anger. It's even worse than jealousy. Don't blame yourself. You did what you did because that's all you knew. So now I know better. What do? I go back. I rewind those memories in my mind, and I just create this beautiful experience. It's three of us. We are playing games. We are having fun. We are laughing, and it's just so magical. And I have a great relationship still with him. I'm separated. I'm not with my ex, but I have a friendly, good relationship with my ex. I have a great relationship with my stepson still. Yesterday was his birthday. You literally can change your present when you change your past. It was so powerful, so powerful. Some of the I've done it many, many times, and sometimes it just brought tears in my eyes because I really felt it, like I was there, and I felt the shift, and I'm seeing the shift in them too. It's magical. I highly, highly recommend it.
So how does it feel to be able to do that?
How does it feel? It feels powerful. It feels it feels like you're not powerless. It feels like you can change things. I really want to encourage and challenge everyone to think more than this 3D, three-dimensional world. Think more in terms of, it's Nikola Tesla. He says, if you really want to understand this world, you have to think in terms of frequency and vibration and energy. There is so much more than we can see. Like, for example, in this room, it seems it is quiet here. There are millions of channels and millions of musics happening in this room right now. How? I just need to connect a radio or my laptop to a radio station or Spotify or SoundCloud, and I can play limitless music. So the frequency is here. You just need a device. You see how there is so much we don't see? So the more we think in terms of energy and frequency, the more powerful we feel. And yeah, so that changing the memory, it is like you are really taking the power back.
So you took a free class that Bob Proctor offered, and it convinced you that you needed what Bob Proctor was training. What's the single most important thing you learned that day that you took that free training?
So that was a 1-week free event. What did that was like 5 years ago. What did I learn? I know that I was hooked. Whatever they did, they were so good. I'm like, oh my God, because no one has ever told me you have higher mental faculties in your mind. And no one has ever told me it is not about the hard work. It is not about leaving corporation, getting into real estate, or leaving real estate, going to another job. Doesn't matter what you do, even if you work 24/7, if you do not understand your subconscious limiting beliefs and how to change those beliefs, nothing is going to change. because I was such a hard worker, I was working so hard when I was in real estate. I live in Toronto, Canada. Winters are brutal here. I used to door knock, minus 20 degrees wind, snow up to my knees. I was working hard and I was not seeing the result. And you know what people do when they work hard and they don't see the result month after month and maybe a year and two, and they use up all their savings and they work so hard and they hustle and grind and they don't see the result? You know what happens? It's probably not for me. It's not meant for me. Maybe I don't have what it takes. This is so wrong. This is the worst thing we can do and so many people do that. And they either go find a job, they either go settle with whatever they've had. No, the reason why you're not getting the result is not because it's not meant for you. It is because you have some programming in the subconscious mind that is blocking you. It is this self-sabotage. So let me give you an example, because it's always people learn better with examples. For example, in my real estate days, I used to door knock and cold call, hustle, work really hard, prospecting every day. What was my thought pattern though? What was my energy behind it? I used to think I am bothering people. I don't know what I'm doing. There are so many other real estate agents who've been doing it for 20 years. Who am I to sell people's home? And these are all subtle voices. Sometimes they're not even clear.
Some people are subtle, some people are not.
For some people
some people are obnoxious, right?
Yes, exactly. And a lot of it has to do with self-worth. A lot of it I talk a lot about manifestation. And manifestation, if I want to summarize it in one sentence, the more you raise your self-worth, the more better things you manifest in your life. So I am doing the thing, I am taking the actions, but back of my mind, and I'm also thinking, oh my God, what if I get this deal? What if I get this listing and I don't know how to sell it? Self-sabotage. You're not going to get the listing if you feel like that. We are all energetic beings. That client, that seller is going to feel my vibration. So he's going to feel like, okay, I really want to work with her. I see that she's hustling and grinding, but there's something off. I don't know. I don't want to do it. Let me think about it. We are sending mixed messages and mixed signals. These are all energetic. These are all subconscious programming. Some people have subconscious programming about that was me. Hard work. Money doesn't grow on trees. I have to work hard. It's not about hard work. It's all about your energy. And I'm by no means, I'm not saying don't work. We have to put in the action. I'm not saying close here and say Om and meditate and you're going to become a millionaire. You have to put in the action, but aligned action with the right mindset and energy is different from hustle and grind out of desperation and lack thinking. So these are some of the things that they shared briefly in that 5 days event. And then I got 1 year coaching. I paid for the 1 year coaching that helped my real estate. And then I invested a lot of money for which I'm so grateful that I did, for 6 months to get my license with Bob Proctor. And I'm telling you from experience, every time you invest on your consciousness, on your mindset, on your personal development, it comes back to you 10 times more from different ways.
So the greatest investor in the world is famous for saying the single greatest investment you'll ever make with the greatest return is the investment that you make in yourself. So very quickly, let me ask you this. What were the limiting beliefs that you had going into that free week and going into certification, all that you got rid of?
I had a lot of, so I still am. I'm honest, I'm still working on it. We all are work in progress. No one is perfect ever. Bob was always saying that I'm still working on my paradigm. we all have a paradigm. That's subconscious programming, and it's different for everyone. Biggest for me was hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And A-type personality, always thinking that I have to hustle and grind and work hard, not understanding that you have to work harder on your mindset. You have to work harder on your frequency, your energy, your belief system. Really trusting and believing in yourself. So for me, that was the biggest. And I think just self-worth, feeling of not being enough, not knowing enough, not having enough experiences. Those are the two biggest one. But there's more.
So growing up in Tehran, who was the most influential person to you?
Good question. I don't think I had an influential person in my life, honestly. And sometimes I get on this podcast and they ask me, so where does the drive come from? Like, you come from traditional family, Middle East. What was your upbringing? Very traditional family. My parents, all they were concerned about as soon as I turned 19 was when I'm going to get married. How can we find a good husband from a good family, rich? It was nothing about mindset. Was not that was not the conversation at all. But it was also not about how are you going to support yourself financially.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine a third world country. They cared about at that time, now things have changed a lot even in Iran, but at that time it was all about getting married.
Mm-hmm.
That was the goal. And I don't know, I believe in past lives. I think like something maybe from my past life, because even when I think about when I was younger, I was 15, 16 years old, I was always interested in, I used to read Wayne Dyer books translated in Farsi, and I was always passionate about this thing. Maybe my grandfather was a little bit of an influence. He was what Bob calls unconscious competent.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very successful businessman, self-made, I don't know, millionaire maybe. But he never taught anyone how he became successful. And he had a factory back home, really, really successful, wealthy man. He talked about real estate. He had a lot of real estate. He never sold any of his real estate. He believed that you have to hold on to your real estate, the value of land. That I think was the only influence. But I don't know, I've always been ambitious. I always wanted to make more of who I am. I never wanted to settle. I never wanted to have a mediocre life. I know that I am still, of course, I'm still not where I want to be. I have such a huge vision for myself, and yeah, I'm just very ambitious, and I love to expand and grow and help others to do the same.
That's great. So what did your grandfather's factory make?
Was plastic products. So they had different kitchen products and containers and things like that. But to be honest, I don't know much about it because again, he never, and so we were kids, but he didn't even share much with my mom. So it was my mom's dad. So I don't know much about his success, but I know that their dad died when they were very little. When my grandfather was 7 years old, his brother was probably 8 or 9. And then they had to work as a very young age. And yeah, that's another thing. So he always talked about hard work and hustle and grind. So that made me believe this is the only way of living. And of course, he did hustle and grind and he became successful. You can do that, but it is not necessary. So this is what I learned from Bob. There is another way of living. which is much easier. You don't have to hustle and grind to become successful. It is a mindset that you can change.
So in high school, did you have a favorite subject?
Art. I used to be very interested in art, and I wanted to for the last few years, but I think I've also shifted and changed. I think I channel that version of me that was interested in art into my business now and create content, trying to be creative in that way, trying to be creative in a way that I share my message. But yeah, I was really interested in art. I used to do a little bit of everything. Like I used to play piano, I used to take great pictures, used to paint, sculpting, you name it. So many different things I have done, and I was really into art, but I didn't like school. I hated school. I didn't like school. I studied French at university back home in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny because I had the opportunity to study English or French.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose French just because I loved the sound of it. And I remember my grandfather, the same grandfather I was talking to you about, he said, "Why do you choose French? Everybody in the world, it's like English is the first language." And I said, "Just leave me alone. I want to study French. I love this language." And fast forward a few years after, that was actually because of my degree, my undergrad, that was the point that I needed for my application to come to Canada. So being a bilingual actually helped me to apply and come to Canada. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to immigrate here. So that's interesting when I think about it. Like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, that's true.
That's another lesson that I learned. Don't look at your past as a waste of time. Even if it doesn't make sense now, I'm sure somehow it makes sense. Somehow you will find it out, or maybe you never will find it out, but we go through things because we have to. Nothing is random, nothing is by accident. Sometimes we understand the reasoning behind the flow of things, sometimes we don't. And that's Steve Jobs. He says you only can connect the dots looking backwards. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. Yeah.
Very interesting. So if you look back and you start connecting the dots, do you believe that you went through the trials and tribulations that you went through so that you would be prepared to help somebody else in the future that's going through something similar?
No doubt about it. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been in 2 different relationships, one for 8 years, the other one for 9 years. And I learned and grew so much. And you know what? It's only through pain, really, that we learn and grow. So, and I always tell people, be careful what you wish for. Because if you wish for a bigger, fuller, more juicier life, universe always says yes. We live in a yes universe. Again, universe, God, your higher self, whatever you believe in, wants to experience the most through you in this physical world. So it says yes. You want a bigger life, you want to become a coach, you want to impact people, you want to have a platform, okay, that's yours, no problem. But we need to put you in school. Because now you're just little tiny girl and we need to expand you. How do you expand, really? Not through ease, not through sitting on your couch and watching Netflix. That's not how you expand. You expand through going through hard times. It can be financial difficulties, emotional difficulties, being alone, not having the community that you want, not having the support. These are all, I love all these. These are all happening for me so that I can become like this. How do I even call it? Like, the phoenix theory.
Mm-hmm.
That's you raises from ashes. You become a much bigger version of yourself that you would not be able to tap into if you didn't go through the hard times. If I was still back home, didn't immigrate on my own, didn't go through the hard times that I went through, so many challenges, I would not be where I am right now. So yeah, I'm grateful. I am grateful for everything that has happened, and I'm still going through some stuff, and I'm grateful for it. Even today, something happened with something, and I'm like, I love it. I love it. This is creating my next version. Bring it on.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody's listening to this and they are interested in hiring you as a coach, how can they reach out to you?
So thanks for asking, by the way. I'm on almost all social media platforms, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn under my first name and last name, Helia Oghani. I also offer free live masterclasses often. The next one is coming end of this month. I don't know when you're going to post this. If you post it before July 28th, it's going to be July 28th, 29th, and 30th. And it's the same thing that Bob Proctor did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a free event. I used to do it for 5 days. Now I'm doing this for 3 days, only 1 hour a day. And I go deeper into what we talked about, subconscious programming and how to change that. Yeah, I usually offer this once every couple of months, and yeah, social media.
So if people go to your LinkedIn, you and I are connected on LinkedIn. If people go to your LinkedIn, it's Helia Oghani, and it's OGH, AANI.
Mm-hmm.
First name's HELIA. So they go there, and is that where they can learn about the 3-day event?
Yes, so I have the link for the 3-day event on my bio. So on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, anywhere on my bio, I have the link to my website, and I also have a link to the free event. This free event coming out this end of this week is called From Burnout to Breakthrough. Because I have been burnt out, and I'm telling you, it's not fun, and you can have the breakthrough and make life much fun and easier and prosperous.
You've been to the burnout. The breakthrough is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been a lot of fun. I'm glad we had an opportunity to meet. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for the opportunity.
Can I ask you a question? Did you know that there's a technology that uses sound waves that'll tell your brain what to do? There literally is. It's called newcalm.com. It can tell your brain to heal, tell your brain to sleep, tell your brain to do all kinds of things. It can get you fired up. It can be a pre-workout. Newcalm.com. And the promo code is Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at the Mike Litton Experience.